All right, again, welcome to Beyond the Front Door, the show where we explore the world of real estate and connect with our industry experts. I'm your host, Joe Romaine, the owner of Golden Bear Home Inspections and also owner of Detroit Real Estate TV. And today we have a special guest. We have David Wintermyer from Berkshire Hathaway. He's been a real estate agent for 12 years now. And we're thrilled to have him here and to share his insights with all of you viewers today. So welcome today, David.
Thank you.
Um, so to start things off, can you tell our listeners a little bit about our background and your background and what initially drew you to a career in real estate?
So initially, I actually came from the corporate industry in banking, and that came to a very close end when the market started shifting and banks started doing more with less. They started closing down branches and essentially getting rid of employees. So I was unfortunately one of the very select few that got let go and kind of lost my market that I was managing, which then kind of led me into this career. So I've kind of had the finance background, but this seemed like a seamless kind of transition into this business. It was definitely a rough start. So 12 years behind the belt has definitely not been an easy road, but you kind of go with the bumps and the ebbs and the flows to kind of find your niche.
Yeah, and anybody who's been involved in real estate knows it's a nonstop roller coaster
Hmm.
with no planned route. It's a new adventure every day. Uh, so,
Absolutely.
so speaking of that, the real estate market is currently evolving, as we know. There's a lot of talk about it today. So, can you provide our viewers with an overview of the current market trends and how they may impact today's buyers and sellers?
Absolutely. So I think ultimately, as you had just said, the real estate market is a definite roller coaster. So you're always going to have your ups and your downs. I think right now the biggest thing that we're seeing is with the rates the way that they're at. So a lot of people, a lot of clients that I've worked with and I've spoken to have shared like, oh, I want to wait until the rates come down. I don't want to do anything right now. I'm paying more for my actual property versus what I could be paying when the rates come down. And generally, that's put a halt on a lot of things. Ultimately, at a daily basis, people need to buy and sell real estate no matter what. So I think it's re-engaging our clients to let them know that you marry the house, you date the rate, and the rate is not always going to be the same forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just re-educating and letting them know that there are different programs, there are different things out there that you can do to kind of not have them feel as nervous or feel like, hey, I can't do this now because of a budget or because of a rate. There are different things that you can do to maximize their potential.
Okay. And then now where is your agency located? What town or county?
I'm in Rochester.
Rochester.
Mhm.
Okay. So many people obviously value local expertise when they're choosing a realtor. So what do you believe are the benefits of working with a real estate agent who knows their local market inside and out?
I mean, there's a lot of benefits. I feel like someone that is going to go to somebody that's local, you usually are born and raised in that town, or you know a lot about that industry and that those four, that segment of town. But also someone that isn't from that area can kind of have an outside lens. So I think selecting a real estate professional to help you and assist you with buying or selling a home, uh, you do want to interview some people, unless it's someone that
Mm-hmm.
you know or you trust. But having someone that's super local doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best.
Yeah. And then and then obviously there's an important relationship when a client's putting all their trust in a real estate agent to buy their biggest purchase of their home. So building that strong relationship is crucial in real estate. So are there any tips or strategies that you use to nurture or maintain those relationships effectively?
Yeah, I mean, so ultimately, for me, the biggest thing is building that relationship and building that rapport. Most people don't want to put all of their eggs in one basket with someone, and they do want to trust that person. They want to know that that person has the knowledge, the expertise, and can actually guide them to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, you want to make sure that you can showcase that and let them know that you know. So having knowledge of the industry, knowledge of the market, knowledge of what you've done. A lot of struggles that I've seen is most people don't know what they're talking about. So being able to kind of give them almost a portfolio of things that you've done or just a little background of yourself so they feel more at ease. But it's talking about just things in general and not always going right to real estate. And where I feel a lot of real estate agents fail is they tell everyone in the world that they're a real estate agent and they think that immediately people are going to go right to them and say, oh, I need
Mm-hmm.
to sell my house, I need to buy my house. when ultimately that should be the last thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
You want to build a connection with someone and have them trust you and know that you're an actual person and you're not just a walking robot and all you talk about is real estate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's there's a double-edged sword there. Then obviously, then hopefully we have some first-time home buyers watching, but or even anyone looking to purchase a property. The process is quite daunting. I've been through it myself before. So could you walk us through the key steps in the home buying process and how a realtor can be just an invaluable resource at this time?
Sure. So the biggest thing is you want to get to know your client. You want to know what their wants are, kind of like that wish list, and you want to know where they're at in the process because a lot of times people feel like they're ready to go, but really they're not. Right. So you can kind of do a preliminary background of where they're at in the process, making sure that they're pre-approved, they know the lender that they're working with. A lot of struggles that I've seen with clients is they don't know the lender. And that is a huge deal breaker if you don't know that lender. And myself as a realtor isn't building a relationship with that lender or providing them someone that they can speak to that I have built a relationship with that I know is going to be able to get us to the finish line. And that's where I've seen a lot of deals fall apart. So making sure they know that lender, they've been pre-approved, they know what their budget is, and then you can go through the nitty-gritties of where they want to be. So starting them potentially on a drip campaign or sending them emails. I personally like to hand select and email them properties myself that I believe is going to be a good fit based on the conversation that we have. And you want to know what's important to them. Where are their hell no's and where they're like, yeah, I can compromise with this. So getting to know how many beds and baths are important. Do they, are they going to have some deterrence? Are they going to want a main road? Are they not going to want a main road? So you really want to find the nitty gritty. And to me, that builds even more of a relationship with that person because you're actually listening to what they're saying and you want to find what's best for them.
Absolutely. All right. And so with that first bit of knowledge, we'll let you mull on that a little bit and we'll head into our first break and we'll return after this. Hello, this is Joe from Golden Bear Home Inspections, part of the National Home Services group of companies. We believe in protection with the inspection, and you can give us a call at 989-467-0224 or schedule online at www.goldenbearhomeinspections.com. We look forward to seeing you soon. All right, we are back at Beyond the Front Door with David Wintermyer from Berkshire Hathaway. So now, your role obviously is to educate your clients in the process. So how do you educate your clients about the significance of getting a home inspection, the information you provide to help them understand the value and impact of their home purchase?
Of course. So in recent market events, a lot of times we're seeing where clients are waiving inspections. That is one thing that I highly recommend not to do. And reason being is you never want someone to come back to you saying you sold me something faulty, or you were just in this for the money, or you were just in this because you wanted a transaction. A home inspection is one of the most important parts of this process. And knowing your inspector, trusting that inspector that they're going to be able to do not only a good enough job for you as the realtor, but also for the client as well. Going through with a fine tooth comb and making sure that you are preventing any health or safety issues, you are preventing any potential problems or huge cost items that could be prevented if we're able to kind of share that report together and make sure that that client understands what's happening. I feel like I've always built a really great relationship with my inspectors just because of that exact fact. I know I can ask them questions and give them get their guidance for that client so they know that they're making the best decision possible.
Absolutely. And then obviously selecting the right inspector is crucial. So what criteria do you recommend to your clients when they're choosing a home inspector, and how do you assist them in making that decision?
So for me, I I have a lot of inspectors that I've worked with in the past. There are a few that I do recommend to them, but I always recommend that they shop. If they want to look at Google reviews, or if they have anyone that has recently bought a home that has used an inspector, asking for a referral as well. But I definitely ask them to almost interview someone that maybe they're being recommended to, not just going through like a yellow page or going through Google and be like, okay, this is the first one that came up. We're
Yeah.
going to go with that one, because that's probably not the best person to go with.
Yeah,
So it's really making sure you know who you're dealing with.
doing some research.
Absolutely.
They're closest to the house. That
Right.
works.
Right.
So, then communication. I like I said, I'm a home inspector. You're a realtor, so communication is key when it comes to the home inspection process between our sides. So can you share some insights on how realtors and home inspectors can effectively collaborate and ensure clear communication with clients during the sales phase?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, building that relationship with the inspector is really important. In the past, the inspector has come to me and said, "Hey, this is an issue that I want to bring up to you before I let the buyer know, in the event the buyer is not in the room, so that way we can tag team this together. In the event this is something that needs to be a walk away, or is it something that we can get a concession, or we can have the seller take care of it?" But it's re-educating the client too. Especially if it's a first-time home buyer, they're going to be super nervous about what's going on, and anything could potentially make them really, really nervous, or scared about moving forward. So having that rapport and that relationship with the inspector is crucial, because it allows us to calm that person down. Of, this is only $100 fix, or this is a $20 fix, where to them it could feel like it's going to be hundreds and thousands of dollars. So making sure that we can course correct that behavior and not allow them to kind of fly off the deep end when things start coming to rise.
Yeah, and communication between us. Like, even I give it my perspective. There's been times where we see something in a house. You had kind of mentioned, the inspector comes to you. There's been times where we see something in a house, and and the buyer's there, but not near me, and I'll go grab the realtor. I'm like, okay, this is your client. You know them.
Right.
We have to present this. What's the best way to present this?
Absolutely.
Where we don't. It's an issue, but we don't want to terrify them. So, like, your client. This is what we got going on, and so then we work on communicating it, because inspectors sometimes can just be straightforward. We just want to give the facts,
Right.
and so sometimes it's like, hey, okay, we need to present this together, because
Being able to
I want to
soften
help
it.
you.
Absolutely. Softening it a little bit sometimes helps.
Then now we've talked about a lot about the buyer side. Now we go to the seller side. So what advice do you have for homeowners who are looking to sell their property, and what can they expect when working with a realtor selling their home?
Sure. So to me, it's almost, you want to help set them up for success when they're looking to list their property. So going through with them, having them showcase anything that they've done to the home, asking them questions about things that maybe they've enhanced or they've adjusted, and asking them if they've had any known problems. The seller's disclosure is a really important document that all of us use to ensure that they're going through their home as well. And sometimes there's things that are unbeknownst to us that we don't know, and even the seller doesn't know. But you want to make sure that you are walking through with them, and they can point out certain things like, hey, this was a leak, or this was that, and making sure that you are educated as a listing agent as well, looking for things that you could potentially see that may cause a potential issue, and then asking questions about that.
And then we are getting near the end of 2023, but one thing is technology is constantly advancing, and it plays a significant role in the real estate industry. So how do you see technology shaping the future of real estate, and how do you incorporate that into your work?
I think technology is always going to be something that's going to continue to evolve and grow. I feel like it's kind of unknown. We don't really know how that's going to affect. As of now, I mean, just even 10, 12 years ago, when I was first starting into the business, uh, things are much different than they are now. So we have the apps on our phone that can unlock a door. We have certain things that we can utilize. If you are on the go and you don't have a printer handy, or you're not able to run to the office, you can pull up a listing on your phone, and able to utilize that and read from it in front of your client, so they know that you're still prepared for the appointment and what you're about to walk into. So, I mean, I feel like the opportunities are endless. And from a real estate perspective, and an inspector perspective, an appraisal perspective, a mortgage perspective, there's a lot of new things that are going to continuously be rolling out that are only going to help us and help our clients and educate them.
Yeah, and there is technology out there, but before we go to our final break, Don't trust your Zillow estimate. Please don't trust your estimates. Okay.
Yeah, it's
All right.
not
Don't
always
trust your
accurate.
estimates. All
Yeah.
right. And with that, we are going to go to our last break. We'll be returning right after this. Hello, this is Joe from Golden Bear Home Inspections, part of the National Home Services group of companies. We believe in protection with the inspection, and you can give us a call at 989-467-0224 or schedule online at www.goldenbearhomeinspections.com. We look forward to seeing you soon. All right, we are back after that break with David again from Berkshire Hathaway. Glad to have him in here. So now we're going to move on to, everybody thinks, being a real estate agent is easy. It's a dream life. You just look at houses all day and watch the checks roll in. Uh, but obviously, every industry has its challenges. So, what are the common challenges that realtors face, and how do you overcome them in your day-to-day work?
Well, it's definitely not looking at houses every day and watching checks come in. It's definitely way more complex than that. Ultimately, a lot of challenges that I see are the follow through and the follow up with a lot of realtors. It's not where you have a client and you feel like it's going to be a client for life. You really have to nurture that person and nurture the people that you meet in your life, and making sure that you're following up, you're following through, and guiding them through the process with education and care and compassion. Ultimately, if you aren't doing those things, it is going to come across that you don't really care and you're just looking for a check. But through that 30-day, 45-day process, anything can happen. And I always share with my team that I work with is you never count your commission before it's in your bank account.
Mm-hmm. Yep, obviously. That's because things can change in real estate till the minute.
Absolutely.
Then investment properties. Everybody knows. You buy houses, buy property, buy land for your safest investments out there. So in real estate, obviously, is a fantastic investment opportunity. So what advice do you have for those who are looking to invest in properties, whether it be rental income or long-term appreciation growth?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say make sure that you are fully aware of what you're stepping into. Make sure that you speak with a real estate professional that you trust and that you work with to know exactly what that is going to look like for you. In the state of Michigan, you're only allowed to have one home as your principal primary residence, and you get that tax exemption from that. So anything beyond that one property, you're not going to get that tax credit or that tax relief, if you will. So making sure that you have reserves, you have money put away for accidentals and things that can go wrong, hot water tanks, furnaces, central air units, windows, floors, carpet, all the things that could potentially become issues. But also knowing what you're getting into when you have tenants. So making sure that the property is going to be um, you're going to market it correctly. You're going to have the right person doing that for you, making sure that they're guiding you through that process with credit checks or making sure that you have background checks or things of that nature. So you know who's coming into your property. The last thing you want to do is spend multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars and your property get trashed.
And yeah, and I've inspected multiple multifamily homes, and I'll tell you, every single one always has one bad tenant. So definitely be eyes open going in on how you want to deal with tenants, because everyone has one bad tenant. Um, and then now client success stories. Realtors have lots of clients and a lot of success stories. So do you have any memorable client success stories you'd like to share, or how you've impacted lives as a realtor?
Sure. For me, every client transaction is a success story. Whether it's a first-time home buyer, it's someone that is looking to get a vacation home, or someone that's moving to the state of Michigan for work and they're out of state. Even a family that is downsizing because now they're empty nesters. You're helping them in a process of their life, and by you guiding them and helping them through that entire transition is a huge emotional ride anyways. So getting them from the start line to the finish line is just a huge success no matter what.
Absolutely. And now we did just mention a few minutes ago that the real estate life is not just looking at houses and collecting checks. But if there is, a viewer who still is interested in becoming a real estate agent, even after learning that information, what advice or insights would you offer to them on looking to enter the real estate profession?
I would say the biggest piece of advice that I would give that I didn't take when I got into the business is I would definitely get with someone that you know that's been in the business a long time that has a successful track record, and I would definitely shadow them if your schedule allows, depending on where you're at with your career. I would definitely see what they do on a daily basis, pick their brain, ask a lot of questions, ask them the positive and the negatives, ask them what is their biggest struggle that they face, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to be pretty honest with you. A lot of people think that it's something that is a get rich quick program, and it's definitely not. It takes a lot of time to nurture, to build relationships, to allow people to trust you. But also, you want to learn what homes are like, what are different, floor plans, what are different architectural styles. Those are all big important things that you want to know and have a great knowledge behind. If you don't, you're going to look foolish and you're going to look like you don't know what you're talking about in front of a potential client. So beyond the education that you have to take, which is the 40 hours, beyond doing any type of additional online reading that you're doing, I would definitely be in the face of the business with someone just to see what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, job shadowing shouldn't be overlooked to just willingly want to do it. Even for home inspectors, we've started it as part of our interview process because, a lot of people came in and they think they can do it. Then they find out they got to crawl in a crawl space with spider webs and they got to get up on a roof and they realize it's not for them. It's not just us walking around with a flashlight and calling it good.
Right.
So, they realize it's not for them. So then before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers? Any upcoming projects or initiatives that you're involved in that they should know about?
I feel like a lot of the real producer events are always a great way to kind of end and wrap up the year. So those are always a really great opportunity to meet with other people. Berkshire Hathaway has a lot of different programs that we're going to be rolling out at the beginning of the year. So there's some changes to Oakland County and the 4 offices that we have there. And even in our Macomb County offices, there's going to be some changes, which is really great. Even our mortgage company, Mortgage One, there's a lot of new programs that are going to be rolling out for the new year that are probably going to allow more people to capitalize on what they want to do.
Fantastic. And yeah, I had heard just recently, that mortgage companies weren't offering a whole lot of new initiatives because they're getting all the refinances. Now that the refinances aren't happening, they're like, oh, now we got to get creative.
Yes,
So,
yes, there's definitely a lot of perks to help
yeah.
buyers out there.
So again, thank you very much for being here, David.
Thank you.
Joining us, providing your insights in the world of real estate. It's been a pleasure having you on Beyond the Front Door. It's been good because we've done multiple of these now and getting everybody's different perspectives has been exciting for me just
Right.
to sit here and like, oh wow, they have this perspective. They have, and that's why it's important. Not every real estate agent's for every person, and I think I've said to everyone, sometimes we're not the home inspector for everybody.
Absolutely.
So with that, it's been a great episode, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Beyond the Front Door. And we wish you a great day.